Hey friends, welcome to the channel. Okay, let's just get straight into this. So, how long do you keep your spices? I was thinking about this because, I'm doing my fall restock of my spice cabinets, and I'm just thinking, well, how long is too long? I mean, I feel like I read that you can keep some spices up to 5 years. In what world? No, I'm not. That's just not going to happen. 5 years is too long. But like, why does this even matter though? Like, to be honest, first of all, I like to have fresh spices and herbs because like whenever I prepare food, then it tastes better. And if I have food that tastes good, then that makes me a good cook. And that's really why I do it. I want to be a good cook. So let's just get into this. We'll talk about this in this video as I restock my cabinet, my spice cabinet for the fall. It's the fall. I like to have I use a lot of like rosemary, thyme, sage. So I want to make sure that I have everything I need and it's fresh and just current for my recipes for the fall. So spices lose their freshness and flavor over time. That's why I check them all about once or twice a year to see if they're still any good. I read that ground spices keep their freshness for about 6 months. I store my dry spices and herbs in this cabinet because it is recommended that you always keep your spices in like a dark cupboard instead of like on a open spice rack where daylight can penetrate the bottles. Especially since I have these glass bottles here that I got from Amazon. And if you like them, I'll link them in the description box below. So I'm pulling all the spices out to check the freshness and then to like clean them and then stock them, restock them. To check the freshness, I usually do this by doing like a smell test. So I smell them. If I don't smell anything, then it's time to toss them. Once I smell if they do have a nice like strong smell, then I know they are still good and I will keep them. Once they have passed the smell test, I pour them into an empty bowl or cup so I can clean the glass containers. So some of the spices I use more than others and will replace like once a month. Like the garlic and the onion powder, I use them a lot when I cook. I also use a lot of paprika, so there is a lot of wear and tear on the label. And this label is pretty much done. I have an extra one, so I actually replaced it after I washed the glass. This chili powder was somewhat fragrant, but the color seemed like it faded to me, so I actually tossed this and just refilled with the new chili powder. I want my chili beans to have a powerful taste, And also, I read that fading is also a sign that maybe your the spices or your herbs are starting to expire. So I washed all the glasses with soap and hot water, and then I just dried them off. The jars that had a lot of wear and tear on the labels got replaced with new labels. These labels came with the jars, but I also have a video on how to make homemade labels with products from the Dollar Tree if you want to make your own. I'll add a link. So after I cleaned and dried the jars out, I started restocking them. As I mentioned, the ground spices typically maintain freshness for about 6 months. So when I restock, I start with the newest spice first. And then I add in the older spice so I know I'm using that spice first. So these are some of my favorite spices, especially during like the colder months. I like to use them in soups, like chilies, stews, sometimes even in my breads that I'll make some homemade bread, and then definitely in my simmer pots. As I mentioned before, garlic powder and onion powder gets replenished very often in my house. So I read that dried leafy herbs retain most of their flavors for about 1 to 3 years, and then like seeds retain most of their flavors for about 4 years. Honestly, I usually go through my dry herbs within 1 year. And I just like, to me, I want to replenish my stuff more often. And parsley, I replenish like once a month. It's just something about parsley that I think makes most dishes look amazing. Sage is like one of my cold weather favorites. I feel like many holiday recipes call for them. And I feel like I can never have too many bay leaves. I mean, I pretty much put them in everything. It just like really gets soups going. Any like roast or whatever you need, it's always nice to drop the bay leaf in there. So I also read that whole spices retain most of their flavors for about 3 to 5 years. You can liven them up when you toast them in like a dry skillet and then grind them before using. I love crushed black pepper to top off soups and like salads and like pastas, pretty much everything. I usually refill this pepper meal every other month. That's just me and my husband. We usually eat a lot of stuff with and top it off with black peppers. If you like it, I'll put a link in the description below in case you want to get the peppermint. So when I start reloading the spices back in the cabinet, I usually organize them by the spices I use the least in the back. And then the ones I use most frequently, I usually put those in the front. And then like some of the stuff in between, I put it in the middle. So when it's like fall, I pull some spices and herbs to the like middle or front row because I know I will be using them more often for recipes I make during the season. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch more, click here to see my latest videos. If you have a request for content you would like to see, please comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye.